Hey guys, Lamar Woods here. I want to share a very powerful moment that just happened. I'm at my office. It's um, it's a Saturday. Um, doing some work that I didn't complete during the week, and I found myself tired. I found myself tired and wanting to go home about an hour or two ago. Um, or probably way earlier than that, if I'm being honest. I used the cup of coffee. The cup of coffee energized me a bit, and so I started to um, feed the beast. Feed the beast, as they call it. If my ambition or my drive is a beast that is caged within me, then I started to feed said beast. I started to feed that ambition, that drive, that hunger, and I started to do that via different videos on the internet. Um, the internet's so powerful in this way. You can do just about anything. So what I did was at I looked at a couple of YouTube videos. In these YouTube videos, what I looked at first was first the first thing that came up was, I believe it was, The Secret to Think and Grow Rich Revealed by Bob Proctor. Um, Think and Grow Rich is a very famous book by Napoleon Hill. If you haven't read it, you very much should. Um, and I thought, oh, Bob Proctor times Think and Grow Rich, this is going to be some very good content. I'm going to take a look at it. And so I started that, and the video was just beautiful, very beautiful. And Bob Proctor starts to speak, and I become curious as to what Bob Proctor's net worth is. I totally believe in Bob Proctor, and I believe in the teachings that I've heard him speak on. I've only heard him on a couple of bits of podcasts that other people have chopped up. Um, and so I'm watching this video, and I become curious. What is the measure of his achievement, or at least if you were to measure it within the confines of his bank account? And it says that he has earned approximately 20 million in net worth. And so I say, okay. Um, and I flip back to YouTube, and I see a picture of David Stewart to my right. And it was a video that I hadn't seen before, and I very much study Dave Stewart for many reasons. Largest black-owned company in America, created worldwide technology, which is huge where I'm at, St. Louis. I also happen to work in his company, so I work for the largest black-owned company in America. So I've done a lot of studying on him, reading his book right now. Yeah, so I study him a lot, and so I started to dig into a couple of his videos, and it was inspiring for sure. It fed the beast some, for sure. And so I flip back to the Bob Proctor video, and he starts to speak, and he starts going over the way that Andrew Carnegie met Napoleon Hill, and how he kicked him off on this journey. And he gets to this point to where Andrew Carnegie had given Napoleon a message from Napoleon to himself. In this message from Napoleon to himself, what he gave was, what he said was, um, it was something to this extent. I might not have it 100% correct, but what he said was, Andrew Carnegie, I am going to be massively successful, and I'm not only going to reach what you have done, but I'm going to reach you at the goalpost and go and go beyond that. Definitely butchered that a bit, so go look it up for yourself. But he's talking about how Napoleon was supposed to say that to himself once a day in the mirror. And on the first day he said that, and then he began to, over the course of a month, go from not believing that this was ever really possible to believing that it was 100% possible. Somehow, as he goes on into his further next sentences, my brain goes on to a tangent, and this happens often. I'll be thinking about one thing, and a background process will start that will be in an entirely new vein, an entirely different topic, or even a related topic, but different than what I'm currently focused on. And so this tangent comes up, and it's a tangent about my life. It's a tangent about my relationship, life, and it's a tangent about basically, what I've accomplished and who I am. And so, and there was a thought that I had earlier in the day, which was that um, I had not reached the success, relationship-wise, that I want, love-wise, family-wise, that I want. My family's a bit fragmented, especially right now. My love life has never been anything more simple than, there's Lamar. Really, it's never been any more complicated than that. It's always been exactly that simple. But and so I was thinking, and I began to this thought began to form in me that I was exactly where I was supposed to be. And even though I wanted different in terms of, wife, kids, girlfriend at the least, 'cause I'm only 27. The girlfriend is really where I should be. I started to have this feeling that I was right where I was supposed to be. And when I thought about it, I said, well, I do have kids. Or at least I do. I have birthed something. I have created something, and that thing I've created is it's my business. It's Woods and Tech. I created Woods and Tech, and this was something that that came to me. It was an entire brainchild of my own. It's something that has come from within me, and now other people see it and understand that it is a thing of its own. However big or small it may be, people understand it is a thing of its own. It is a thing of its own, and it can grow to flourish and survive without me. And so I thought, oh wow, so I guess I do have a child. And right before I had that thought, another tangent. So by this time, I paused the video because this tangent became so strong. It became the main thought, and this other tangent pops off, or spins out, as I'll call it. And this tangent is saying, Well, not well. Where did where did this thought sort of where did this thing come from? And as I'm trying to figure out where this thing came from, I feel like it came from a long time ago. There was a thought that I had earlier. So even as I told you, I'll have tangent thoughts, but I'll also, and I believe every person does this, we'll have tangent thoughts, and we will also, we will revisit thoughts. I revisited a thought from earlier in the day, which was that there was something in me, some light, which is in many people for sure. They just Some people just choose to not pay attention to it, uh, or 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 decide that it's not a light at all, or are not lucky enough to be in environments where that light can shine. And so I thought of that light as like inspiration, or or some inner power. And so as I thought about it, I was thinking, I had this thought of this light or this inner power being within me, and I thought about how much I love technology and what my what my what my goal was, what I wanted out of life. Um, I envisioned my this light being within me, and I touched the computer, which I was very into computers as a kid, but didn't quite have a computer, or have much access to computers until about the eighth grade. Uh, when I got into this honors program, I was able to get in front of a computer that had internet, once a day. I envisioned myself touching a computer, and as I reached forth and touched the computer, that inner light within me went also towards the tip of my finger. And as I touched the computer, it touched the computer at the same time, creating uh, some effect that shot electricity through my entire body. And I'm seeing this as if it was a movie, um, almost like a Marvel production. Um, these electricity sparks through me, and and I'm I'm somewhat fused with what was happening inside of the computer and this light. Um, and I see me putting my hands on the table, and the electricity just surging throughout my body, and this light, the same light, even though it had created this electricity, it also still was within me, and it turns into a halo. It turns into a halo, and the electricity, as it's surging through my body, it shoots out of my back in a way and creates angel wings. So I've been listening to a lot of what my pastor's been saying, um, and one thing stands out to me when I'm watching this movie in my head, and this is, my pastor said, man is closest or most like God when he creates. He said this because we are the highest creation that God has ever had. We are God's uh, we are God's shining figures. Um, and if you think about it, the one thing that does, when you think about all that he does, he's always creating something. Even when he's only making a whisper, in an ear, he is creating thoughts, he's creating movements, he's creating situations that make other things happen. Um, and so by this time, this movie has become the main thought, and now I'm revolving back around to my child, which is my company. And I think, well, it might have been good. It might be good that I haven't figured out the relationship aspect 100%. It might be good because where I plan to be, not many people could understand me doing what I'm doing. It's like 7 o'clock on a Saturday, and I'm watching cars go by, and there's two friends in a car here with the windows down. And there's families driving by, and they're all happy and living their lives and doing something entirely different from what I'm doing. And not many people would be able to sit in here in a space like this, and this is a pretty big space. And there have been plenty of people in here today for sure, all of them friends of mine. But I'm the only one right here right now. I'm the only one here right now, and that goes to show that not many people will ever truly understand me and what I'm doing. And me trying to force some woman, she'd have to be a strong. God bless her soul when she does show up. God bless her, because she's gonna need a lot to handle me. She's gonna have to be a lot to handle me, or be able to grow into a lot. So I was thinking maybe I'm blessed by the fact that I haven't found that one. Maybe I'm blessed because this vision is so big. This path that I'm creating is so huge and scary and exciting and different, that someone else being added to the mix might only detract, might only put a cloud over my sun rays. And so that thought came through, and then I get back onto my child, which would be my businesses, and I thought, well, okay, if I have a child already, if I have this thing that I've birthed that is my sole attention, just about, and I care about more than anything else, then what is SoHeart? And for those who I haven't explained this to, SoHeart is a drug addiction recovery app that I'm building, which spun out of Woods and Tech. Woods and Tech, when I created it originally, was a company that created proprietary products for itself, created software, which was apps and websites for small to medium-sized companies, and trained developers to be able to do those same things. I spun out the proprietary product side when I created SoHeart, meaning it only does two things now, which is create software for other folks and train software developers. And so when I thought about it, I said, well, not only do I have a child, but I have a grandchild. Wow. I have a grandchild at 27. One that shines and will most likely shine far brighter than I ever will. And that is inspiring. That is amazing. When I felt that, at the moment when I thought I have a grandchild, and I stretched myself. Sometimes my mind works in excuse me. Sometimes my mind works in funny ways. And so I stretched myself to think even further in this vein. I said, well, okay, if you have a grandchild, then what's the sex? What is this? And I thought, wow, well, SoHeart, it's it's, it's got to be a girl. I, it only makes sense. With a heart so big, with a sense of care so big, with a sense of stewardship so big, how could it be anything uh, but a girl? And this just kind of flown to me, and I said, well, one, this is odd, so you're an odd person for even thinking this, but two, this is beautiful. It's beautiful to even have that thought. Um, and I envisioned the SoHeart logo with kind of showing up in the middle of a screen with pink surrounding it, as I thought about it being a girl, and I began to get choked up. I began to tear. Water started to formulate in my eyes, and I had to get myself together. I said, "Oh, I'm in here with my suit on, pocket square, crispy. Come on now, can't be showing weakness out here." Um, and tried to get myself together. I said, "Well, let me not waste this moment. Let me not waste this moment of inspiration. Whether it's 100% craziness and my ambition and my drive and the different way that my mind works have created a moment uh, of very interesting thought, and that's all it is, or whether it means that something more, like the fact that thoughts can have genders. uh, I wanted to capture the moment. I wanted to capture the moment for sure. Um, and then I had one more thought. So if I have kids, well, if I have a child, which is what's a tech, and that child has a child, um, SoHeart, then what does that mean for me? They say it takes two to tango, um, which means that I must have ran across something, or uh, that must have uh, that must have germinated or watered a seed. Uh, which one? Who was holding the seed? Who was holding the water? Who, I don't know. But I was like, if it takes two to tango, who was this other? What was this other? And then I thought, uh, wow, even more powerful than the thoughts I was having before. When you think about it, um, they basically, when you think about the story of Jesus, Mary was Mary had something put inside of her, something physical did not happen in order to create Jesus. What happened was something was put within her, and from that combination of her body and what was put in, Jesus was born. God had put something into someone and created another. And then I thought, wow, God gave me SoHeart. God gave me Woods and Tech. And that expanded my mind into an entire list of possibilities. Was every great person that did every great thing given that by God? Is that the way this all happened? I don't know. Did they run until they seen enough things in the world and it just clicked? That's what I felt like Woods and Tech was when I made it. I was a software guy, and I got hired into a software company by an entrepreneur that gave me a chance, and I saw his life and wanted to have that life very badly. So it seemed natural. It seemed natural to make that next step into having my own. And so you never really know where your life is going to go. And as I was sitting here thinking about these creations of mine that brought me closer to God and where they might have come from and what gender they may be, if a gender at all, I thought, this is powerful. This is so powerful that I need to share it at least with someone. Someone at the least needs to understand where my head's at right now. People wish they could have been with Jobs as he was thinking to create the iPhone. People wish they were with Gates as he was putting together the pieces of Microsoft. People wish they were with Zuckerberg as he was coming up with Facebook, but being in those circles to be close enough to that situation was only for a small few. But in today's day, the world can be with me. The world can be with me as I come up with ideas and as I execute strategies. And so this kicks off the beginning of my online journey to share what I'm learning and what I'm doing with the world. And I will use this as a platform to help others figure out where they want to be and figure out how they can get from where they are to where they're going, because that is exactly what I'm doing right now. Is I'm building the bridge from where I am to where I'm going. So this is already about a 30-minute video. I just wanted to share these things with you and give you a perspective that is different, very different. No one thinks like this. In fact, 80% of the people that watch this will think I'm crazy. 10% will think, wow, this guy's amazing. And another 10% will be confused entirely. And that's okay. That's entirely all right. So, on that note, everyone, have a good night. And come back for when I've got more tidbits to share and more thoughts to throw out. Later.